Loves. So I just wanted to finally do my story time. Um, when I got pregnant when I was 17 years old. That was quite a while ago now. It was about 15 years ago. But I do want to talk about this because there may be somebody who is in my same position. So, when I was, I'd say 15, almost 16 years old, I had a best friend that we used to hang out all the time or whatever. And well, not just her, but we used to get on the party line. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but back in the day, it was like this big thing. Like you get on the party line and you try to find, people to talk to or hang out with or what have you.
Route
So
recalculation.
I used to get on the party line with her and we used to act silly. So she met a guy and they considered themselves dating or whatever. And one day he said that she went to go call him and she thought that he wasn't home. And so, hold on. Hello. Sorry, guys. That was the hubby. So, anyways.
Exit the highway.
So one day she had been trying to call him. I mean, she was one of those people who would constantly call your phone, and if you didn't answer, then she would feel some type of way. You know what I mean? But
now turn left.
So she was like, well, he's not answering the phone. Can you call him for me? I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know the guy. I knew she was talking to him, but I don't know him, so it's whatever. I'm going to put on my mother-in-law's sunglasses because I definitely cannot see. And I'm driving her car right now. Okay, that's a little bit better. So I call the number, and a guy answers the phone, and I'm like, hey, I'm just going to call him Steve. I'm like, hey, Steve, and I'm going to call her Leslie. Hey, Steve, Leslie's been trying to call you. She said you're ignoring her phone calls. What's up with that? She really wants to talk to you, yada, yada, yada. And so the male voice on the phone was like, this is not Steve. I'm like, yes, it is. Like, why are you playing on the phone? You know she really likes you. Like, you just need to be honest with her. Like, if you don't want to talk to her, then just don't talk to her. But don't give her the runaround. So the male voice is like, this is not Steve. Like, I promise you, this is not Steve. He's not here right now. And I'm like, okay, so we're going to play games today. So if you're not Steve, then who are you? He says his name is, we're going to call him
in half a mile.
Melvin. He's like, this is Melvin. And I'm like, yeah, right, this is Steve. No, this is Melvin. Steve is my brother. And I'm like, you keep lying to me. This is not going to work out well. So, like I said, we're teenagers. Like, we're annoying as hell. Like, whatever. So, in the background, I hear their mother. And
feet,
she's like,
turn right
hey.
onto Scott Street.
She's like, hey, Melvin. Can you come do this, and this? And I was like, oh, so your name really is Melvin. And he's like, I told you that. I don't even know you, so I definitely do not have a reason to lie to you. And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, there goes that. So I don't know how this happened, but he and I started talking. Like, so I had their phone number or whatever, and he had my phone number because I called from my phone. So we started talking, and I don't know, honestly, whatever happened between my friend and his brother. Like, they just stopped talking, I guess. I don't know. So, so anyways, like I said, he and I started talking, and this was probably like the beginning of my junior year of high school. So this is like 2001. And it was right before my 17th birthday. So I think we started talking like October or November, and I turned 16 in December, on December 1st. So I was like, this guy seems pretty cool, I guess. Like, I can talk to him. And so I turned 16 or whatever, and I had invited him over for Memorial Day weekend. We were having a barbecue at my house. And so this is like the first time I would have physically seen him. So I'm like, oh my gosh, if this guy is ugly, because I was a very shallow person. If this guy is ugly, I'm going to be so mad. And so he comes to my house, and I see him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's gorgeous. Like, he is a beautiful human specimen. So, excuse me. So before that, we were talking, and this has really nothing to do with it, but I was like, oh, so your mom, he was like, I asked him something about his nationality or his ethnicity. And he was like, I'm mixed. And I was like, oh, what do you mix with? He was like, black and white. I said, oh, well, and I heard his mom's voice. So I said, oh, so your dad's white and your mom is black. He was like, no, my mom is white and my dad is black. And I was like, that can't be, because your mom sounds like a black woman, whatever that's supposed to be, right? And so he was like, well, my mom is definitely white with blonde hair and green eyes. And I was like, oh, so when I seen her, I was like, you're right, she is. And so, hold on, I gotta order hubby some breakfast. Can I have a number 1, please, with an orange juice?
Okay.
And can I also have a, can I have the fruit and maple oatmeal thing?
Okay.
And then that'll be it.
Okay, so the $8.75 first order.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
My question is, why does McDonald's have to be so expensive? And this is why I don't eat stuff like this. But I figured I'd get an oatmeal. Why not? That's healthy, right? So anyways, point is, so he comes over for Memorial Day weekend. I had told him I knew how to braid hair, which I did know how to braid hair, but I wasn't good at it. But I told him I knew how to do designs and all this other stuff. And he was a good sport about it, because I braided his hair and it was absolutely hideous. So after that, we just hung out a lot, like all the time. And so I remember we broke up that summer because he went to California with his dad. They went to Disneyland and stuff, and he told me he hooked up with some girl. So we broke up. So beginning of my senior year, I started dating another guy. Name not important, whatever. Started dating the other guy, and then I told my ex, that I started dating the other guy, and he was kind of like, not upset, but he was like hurt, I guess. And I was like, well, you like disappeared. We broke up, so I didn't think we were getting back together. There was no reason for me to even think we were going to get back together. So I started dating somebody else. And that person that I started dating, I actually had lost my virginity to. And so I think that's what hurt him the most, because he said that he wanted to be the person to take my virginity. And so I'm like, well, everybody has wants in the world. People in hell want ice water, but do they get it? Absolutely not. So after that, we started dating again that October. And because school started September, yeah, so we started dating in October. So it was fun senior year. Like, excuse me, we would always go like hang out, skip school, like not even skip school, like where our parents didn't know. We'd call each other at like 6 o'clock in the morning, be like, are you going to school today? I don't really feel like it. Well, me neither. Okay, well, I'm coming to your house. And he would just come over and we'd hang out and watch movies and go out to lunch and just do all kind of stuff. Like, our parents let us do that. So I did not sleep with my ex-boyfriend until April of 2003. And after that, we were like not to be like graphic or TMI, but we were like friggin' jackrabbits all the time. So I graduated high school. He was he's older than me by like 3 weeks, but he was in the grade behind me. But I was advanced a year, so I was actually supposed to be in 11th grade, but I was a senior. So he was right on time. I was just advanced. So I graduated high school. We had a graduation party. It was cool, whatever. That summer, Bad Boys 2 came out. When Bad Boys 2 came out, we were going to go to the movies. Well, that day we decided, hold on, let me pay for this. I don't need them all in my business.
Are you at the number one with the oatmeal?
Yes.
$8.75. All right, $125. Thank you.
Thank you. OMG.
You need jelly?
No, thank you.
Have a good day, ma'am.
Thank you, you too. Okay, here's my thing. How do they give you an orange juice and don't even fill up the cup? Like, what the hell? McDonald's is on that stupid stuff. Anyways, so we were gonna go watch Bad Boys 2. And we were being bad. And while we were looking at movie prices, I was sitting on his lap trying to play it off, but we were, doing adult things. And so we, well, according to me, we had never finished. We never really did much because, like my sister walked in and all kind of crazy stuff. So I asked him, I was like, you didn't like nut in me, did you? He was like, no. I was like, okay, well, I better not get pregnant because I was on no birth control. Nobody even knew I was having sex, like all kind of stuff. So he was like, no, absolutely not. I was like, okay, cool. So a few weeks later, me and my friend, the one who was dating his brother, we decided, she was dating another dude at this point. And how do you turn from right there? So we decided that we were going to try to, immature, like, play a prank on the dudes that we were dating. So I called my boyfriend at the time. I called Melvin. And I told him, oh, well, I am pregnant. And he was like, what? How do you know? And I was like, well, because I missed my period. And so I know that I'm pregnant. He was like, are you serious? Like, okay. He was like freaked out. So then like the next day or a couple days later, I started feeling really nauseous in the morning and couldn't really figure out why. And my mom was out of town visiting her best friend. And my dad would get up every day, go to work. So every day when my dad would leave, I would run in my mom and dad's restroom and throw up and just cry. And I was like, God, please don't let me be pregnant. And if I am, I promise I will never, ever, or if I'm not, I promise I will never, ever do anything like this again until I get married. I'm not going to do this, yada. And I didn't want to throw up in my bathroom because my bathroom was between my sister's room. And then my sisters would have heard me and then they would have figured it out and they would have told on me. So, I was like, I'm not doing that. So then, so I told Leslie that I believe I'm pregnant. And she was like, what? Well, Planned Parenthood does pregnancy tests for free. So let's go to Planned Parenthood. Cool, let's go. So we caught the bus to go to Planned Parenthood and we get all the way. That's going to be really pretty. We got all the way to Planned Parenthood just for them to tell us that we had to pay $10. Well, we were broke. We're not going to sit here and pay $10. So I just had to say, forget it. And so my mom had called me and I told her, I was like, Mom, I think I'm pregnant. And she was like, well, what? What happened? What do you mean you think you're pregnant? When did you start having sex? Yada, yada, yada. And I told her, and she was like, oh, wow. Okay, well, you know, you're going to have to tell your dad because you're on the insurance. He's going to have to know that you're doing something. And I was like, no. And so when she came back she said her feelings were hurt because I should have been honest with her so she could have got me on some kind of protection and all this stuff. So when baby, the sun is out. The sun is out. So no.
What you doing today?
Nothing. I gotta see if white boy is over there so he can fix the car. But other than that, nothing. Nothing. I gotta pick Mama up when she's done. Whenever she's done. Her appointment is at 9:40, she said, but she needed to be there an hour early. And then Grandma's taking Arthur to the doctor at like between 10 and 11.
Grandma?
To make sure his leg ain't fractured.
It's fractured?
It might be. We don't know.
I heard it said it's hopping around this motherfucker.
And almost fell like 9 or 10 times.
Yeah. It hurt.
And he was trying to go to work.
It hurt worse in the morning, the day after.
I told him, I was like, you're not going to work because his leg is so swollen and shiny.
Really?
Yeah.
He needs to go to the hospital.
And that's why I told him, they said they were still going to pay him for him not being there. So I'm like, you ain't got to worry about it. You're still getting paid, but you need to go get that checked out because that's not normal.
What time Grandma said she gonna take?
Between 10 and 11. Hold on, here I come. So, long story short, my mom took me to the doctor. After she took me to the doctor, like, I went to go pee in the cup. And as soon as I peed in the cup, the lady was, like, chasing me down the hall. I went in the room, and the lady gave my doctor the results, and he was like, you're pregnant. So he was like, do you want to bring your mom in the room? And I'm like, yep. And he was my mom's doctor. So he was like, hey, you're going to be a grandma again. And she was like, oh, I figured that. And so I went, and she was like, okay, so let's go eat lunch. I'm like, what? Like, I'm not having this baby. Like, I'm not having this baby. This is not going to work. And she was like, well, you just got to tell your dad. He'll be mad, but he'll get over it, yada, yada, yada. And my mom was like, she was hurt, but she was okay with it at the same time. So it all kind of worked out. I ended up losing the baby at about 6 weeks. I lost the baby. So there was no baby to come from that. And the sad part is, like 2 months after I lost the baby, he and I broke up. And our relationship has been kind of weird ever since. Like, we're friends, but we're not really close like that. And then I moved. And, well, we broke up. And then I moved, like, the next, like, summer. And when I moved, I came back the following year and I slept with him again. And then he turned around and had a baby like a year later. And then after he had that baby, like 2 years later, I got pregnant and I had my son. And off and on, he was just like, well, we could have still been together. And I'm like, you gotta mess that up. But our friendship is kind of strange. I seen him for the first time in 10 years. And I was just like, I'm glad I didn't stick with that. But it was really rough. I missed the fact that I could have had another child, but oh well. I guess that's it, guys.